Hello everyone, my name is UIM Link, and today I wanted to go over the progression of the Ultimate Iron Man game mode in the past 3 years since its release. As a bit of background, I've been playing the Ultimate game mode for 3 years. I had created my account in late November of 2014, and later I would be the 6th person to actually max it on September 29th of 2017. Anyways, that aside, let's dive into old school RuneScape's hardest game mode to date, the no banking, no trading account. As a bit of a warning, I'm just going off the information that was actually available to me through YouTube, Twitch, Reddit, and Wiki. So if you never actually posted on these websites, I'm sorry, but I actually might have missed you. My bad. Now obviously Jagex didn't actually come up with this mode out of thin air. Like the official Iron Man mode, there were unofficial accounts before Jagex decided to put in an actual game mode. Most of you would happen to know the One Man Army series is what brought the most attention to the Iron Man playstyle more than anything. But just like Bodhi being able to PK loot on his unofficial Iron Man,
what's going on guys? Bodhi
ironnobank also had a plot twist on his account, making it so that you cannot bank or trade. You might be asking yourself why. And if we look in the description of his first video on his account, there's actually some details. Coming straight from his YouTube description, Iron Man, playing the game in a solo manner as one might encounter on a private server or offline console. No benefiting from any other player by any means unless it is for A, Shield of Arav, and B, Heroes Quests. This includes, but is not limited to, buying items from general stores, looting monsters, accepting aid, free items, or money. Now, the game was initially designed with 28 bank slots. Items such as logs would not stack, and not every skill could be compartmentalized, for maximum experience hourly. Instead, the game was sort of a survivor wilderness where what a player kept was pretty much vital to their success. For the challenge, I have chosen to play using only my inventory and no banking will be allowed. This is the Iron Man No Banking Challenge, henceforth the Andrew Gower Challenge. This video being posted on May 6th of 2014 was the start of something pretty awesome. As ironnobank continued his unofficial ultimate, Jagex went ahead and actually pulled the Iron Man mode in what I estimate to be around July or August, and of course it passed with flying colors, and the Iron Man mode would be later added into the game on October 14th of 2014, alongside the Ultimate Iron Man mode. Surprisingly enough, when this mode was finally released, there were some videos on the account, not many, but some. This made it a lot easier to determine when certain methods were used. More specifically, I'm talking about the looting bag. One of the more iconic items that are used on the Ultimate accounts. How this bag works for an Ultimate account is just like any other account, except when items are deposited, the only way to actually take them out is to kill your character in game. So the items will drop out of the bag, and the bag is therefore destroyed. The videos I was looking at around the time show the use of the bag as early as October 29th, which means this method was actually figured out in just a few short weeks. High scores didn't shift much over the first few months of the account. I know that just because I remember it, but sadly I can't actually manage to find any type of high scores page for the first year or so even. So we'll move on to achievements that were obtained in the mode instead of high scores for now. The first person to achieve Barrows Gloves on the official mode was U2K24. On November 4th of 2014, he posted on the Reddit account Saravaga, which was 21 days after the mode, might I add. Ironnobank was technically the first person to get the gloves on his account as early as July, but we'll continue not to mention him just because I'll be talking about the official mode from now on. Sorry, Ironnobank fans. What makes U2K's gloves so special was that he probably didn't use a looting bag, and we can see this just because from the pictures of him finishing RFD, there is no trace of a bag at all in the inventory. Now obviously he still could have used one and gotten rid of it just before making the picture, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he didn't actually use it for his full RFD run. More on questing, Iron One was actually the first to get the quest point cape on November 13th of 2014. In just 30 days he was able to accomplish this. We know this because he was the only ultimate at the time with the herblore requirements to actually get the cape. Sadly, I cannot show the high scores page of this, but his comment was the top comment on Reddit, so it should be evidence enough. Iron Wind would move on to being the rank 1 ultimate for months to come. A good 6 or 7 months to come, might I add. Moving on to a more interesting achievement would be the Fire Cape. A name that some of you might remember would be Torwent. Torwent would be one of the only people streaming this mode at the time. In this clip that we're seeing right now of him getting his cape, which at the time was a pretty insane achievement because the mode had, once again, only come out in October, he had gotten this cape in late November, which is about 47 days after the release. He said towards the end of the clip that he might not be the first to get it, but he's happy. From what I could see, he probably is the first one to get it because there's no evidence saying otherwise on Google, Reddit, or YouTube. Torwent would go on to do a lot more awesome shit, but we'll talk about him later on.
Yes! I got the fucking fire cape! Oh my god! In an account with no bank. Oh my fucking god. Turn the fuck off. Oh my fucking god! Ultimate with fire cape. Yes, yes.
One very important thing about the Ultimate Game Mode is the death mechanics. The death mechanics were changed to 30 minutes on September 29th of 2014, which means that ever since the Ultimate Game Mode was released, there definitely have been 30-minute death timers. But timers weren't the same back then. How they work now, to this day, is items stay on the ground for 60 minutes and are not visible to any other players in that time. But how they were in 2014, items were visible on the ground after just a minute, but would stay there for 30. So basically, if you died, someone would pick up your items pretty much more than likely. Unless, of course, you figured out a way to die in an area that wouldn't have a lot of players in it at any given time. For example, this would be like dying upstairs in a random house, and abuse of these mechanics are how the game mode has actually been played since its release. Ending 2014 off with not much information, but only because of the lack of popularity for the mode. 2015, though, would start with quite a bang for the Ultimate accounts, because on January 8th of 2015, a new boss was released, that boss being Zora. Zora was a very unique boss because it was in an instance, so when you died, your items would be held by a priestess that was standing right outside of where you'd actually enter the boss area. This was extremely beneficial because of the fact that we now had a quote-unquote bank. We could purposely die at this boss and hold as many items as we wanted and do something else while the priestess held the items. Seems all well and good, right? Just hold a bunch of items? Well, not exactly. If you happen to have died while the priestess was holding the items, those items would no longer exist. She would get rid of them. This would mean that you can't really use a looting bag while items were in Zora since you have to die to get items out of the bag. Not only that, but it's risky to leave items in there in the first place. But still, it was a major flaw that we used to our advantage. For example, you could put items in Zora and do something like fight caves, which is a safe death. And when you die, your items would still be held because it was a safe death area. Anything that was a safe death was obviously okay to die in while she held your items. We refer to this bank as the quote-unquote Zora Bank. Going back on Torwent, he would be the first to obtain a Fury in late January of 2015. And not only that, but also attempt God War's dungeon. God Wars kind of seemed impossible at the time. Well, not really impossible, but awfully risky, which is why not many people gave it a second thought. Torwent, though, on the other hand, was the very first to actually kill Sir Doman in early February of 2015. This was the first documented kill on an Ultimate account, so it was a treat to see, especially when he streamed it at the time. Torwent seemed to be the best up-and-coming Ultimate out there. Not afraid to do God War's dungeon, and also being rank 5, he was a force to be reckoned with, even obtaining a Sir Doman sword at just 4 kill count. But it seemed like he flew a little too close to the sun, and actually ended up dying on his account in late February of 2015 in the Sir Doman room. He was not able to get his items back due to running out of time and making a couple of mistakes.
No, I died! No! There goes my sword! Oh man, need to do this quickly.
Fast forward about 4 months later, Torwent was actually banned for botting. He had posted on the 2000 Escape Reddit saying that it was a mistake and was awaiting a JMod response. And boy did one come. ModMac later posted a comment on that thread saying, he botted more than a pack of Jawas in a scrapyard full of droids. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. It was just a 2-day ban for auto-hotkey use apparently, but after that, about a month later, he decided to remove his status as an Ultimate Iron Man and move on to becoming a normal Iron Man. He said, quote-unquote, that he just wasn't enjoying the mode anymore. He left quite the legacy in terms of the beginning Ultimate Iron Man from October 2014 to March 2015, being the first Ultimate to actually obtain a Fire Cape, and also being the first Ultimate to obtain a Fury, and also even the first to obtain a Sir Doman kill, and keeping the rank 5, rank 6 position for quite a long time.
This video is to tell you guys that I'm going to become a normal Ironman. I'm currently rank 5 Ultimate Ironman, and I think my name stays on the ice scars with my total level until people pass me and I disappear from there. So I'll probably still be on.
And this time around April, Iron 1 was finally dethroned from his rank 1 spot after keeping it for close to 6 to 7 months since the game mode's release by Perm Iron. Perm Iron had the goal of actually maxing his account, so naturally he would eventually pass Ironwin. Around this time too is when Ironwin stopped playing and focused on a lot of work or real-life circumstances. His total level remains at 1842 to this day, and might actually stay there for the rest of the game, unless he makes a comeback. This was also around the time Lowlander, also known as WIM, would be making great leaps in terms of total levels, working on max. The first ultimate to actually achieve 2k total was Lowlander, the legend. Sometime around late June or perhaps early July of 2015 is when Lowlander achieved this goal. In doing that, he passed Perm Iron and took his rank 1 position, which he was holding for 3 to 4 months at the time. Lowlander would continue this very rapid total level growth for the next year, working on max total level. Now that Torwent was off the high scores and MRC was starting to stop his growth, some more ultimates took over the top 5. Our new top 5 ultimates for this time were Lowlander at 1, Perm Iron at 2, Basalts 420 at 3, Iron Surgery at 4, and Doggoat at 5. This was October 12th of 2015, nearly a year after the mode was released, and only 2 ultimates have reached the 2k total level goal. High scores seem to be bustling with competitive skilling. With the top of the high scores being extremely competitive, more ultimates have been making strides to do a lot of PVM. More specifically, RPR being the very first ultimate to obtain a hilt and finished his God Sword in early December of 2015. Not much else happened that year, besides late December, which is when I actually decided to upload my first video on this channel. And that will be the end of part 1. Sorry to end it so short, I just would like to get this out before Christmas, and that will be in 3 days. So if I were to continue through 2016 and 17, it would definitely take more than 3 days. I should have part 2 out by after Christmas, and that should be pretty solid. If I can do that, I'll be happy. And that will be the complete history of the Ultimate account and its progression since its creation in 2014. Anyways, guys, if you liked the video, please be sure to obviously give the video a like. That would mean quite a bit. And if you're at all new to the channel and you're an Ultimate yourself, feel free to subscribe. I do post a lot of Ultimate related content. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in part 2 of the video when it's released.